Hey everybody, welcome back to the 30 Minutes of Fame podcast. Today I have another amazing guest with an amazing story that I crossed paths with on TikTok. Justin from BC, welcome to my little show here.
Thanks, Dave. It's nice to meet you.
One thing that really hit me and why I wanted to have you on here, we'll start with how this all started for you. But age 11, you got into some pretty bad stuff, and my
Yeah.
daughter's 11, man. That just terrified me. Just I took a step back and I'm like, holy shit. Um, just chatting briefly with Justin, I'll let him share his story, but over 40 years of some dark moments and bad choices. And how did everything start for you? Let's go back to what made that move.
Well, it started about 11. Pretty abusive family, kind of crazy. Living at home at that age was like a war zone. So yeah, that kind of drove me out into the street. Started running with street gangs, which then led to dealing. And back then they glorify it, right, and call it hustling, and you feel powerful and you feel all these fake emotions, and which led to addiction. And then yeah, it was all downhill from there, man. It was just years of trying to fight the addiction, trying to hide it from everybody, trying to live a normal life. But there was nothing normal about it. It was always, I think the only person I was fooling in the end was myself. And yeah, this went on and on and on until finally that day that I realized that I was dying slowly. I was watching friends disappear. I was watching all this stuff happen right in front of my face. And yeah, I realized that I was dying slowly and that I needed out. And that was probably the most powerful moment of my life, probably anybody's life. And then I started to fight for recovery. And yeah, I found a place in Kelowna that offers a faith-based recovery program, and I dove right into it. Took a couple chances. Relapse is, it's a part of the journey, but they accepted me back in, and I've just been going ever since and working on my sobriety. And now I've decided 40 years in a story like this that it's time to share that story and turn it into a teacher, help empower other guys, hopefully anybody that needs to hear a message and understand that there is a way out. No matter how deep you get into, doesn't matter how old you are, you can get out of it.
So you said coming from an abusive family, you start. How did you go from you meet these gang people and they're probably like, wow, people actually give a shit about me, and all instead they just want you to run their drugs and stuff. Like
Well,
that's a
that's
big 180,
exactly it,
man.
right? Yeah, it kind of, like I say in some of my videos, it kind of, they call it brotherhood, but for me it was belonging. It was a family outside of the family, right? Something when you're that age and you're kind of out there and you're lost and you're alone, you look for anything, man. You look for anything that can take care of you, can help you survive. I mean, you're not going to go out and get a job at 11 years old, right? So so yeah, it was really the only way of survival at that time.
Terrifying. So were you away from your home? Did you move out? Like, were you on the streets then when you got in with these gangs, or what was
Yeah,
two
for
worlds?
a lot of times it was always kind of back and forth, kind of get dragged back either by schools or by the systems or whatever the case may be, but then running away again and get dragged back again and then run away again and then yeah, just spending very little time around home, to be honest. Um, Doing everything I could not to be there. It was a horrible place. It's a horrible place to be.
This makes me
So
take a look at myself as well. You mentioned you're into a faith-based program. My parents were Salvation Army ministers, so I was around those programs my entire life. Like my brother works at a an addiction center, and it's still in my family. Like I just turned 50, but I feel pretty damn fortunate to be like I've seen that side too. Like You know, I used to volunteer with the Happy Tree and giving out presents or going to like the soup kitchen and stuff. So I've
Yeah,
seen
cool.
that world, and now I'm talking to all these people, and it's full circle, right? Because I get it, and
Yeah,
I've seen the other side, but I was a kid and just like, oh wow, that guy's having a bad day, or you don't really get
yeah,
it, but it's a pretty big eye
yeah.
awakening.
Yeah, I love the organization. Actually, I'm getting involved with them now. It's a church that I go to throughout my years on the street, through Calgary to Vancouver. It was always an organization. It was right out there on the front lines. They were people that I would run into often when you really needed a meal. It was always the place you would go to get a meal. Oftentimes there was, in those really cold winters and having to get off the street, it was a bed that was available. So, especially in Calgary, had a big facility that was all about helping men. So yeah, I was quite drawn to the organization for years, and now they have a little church right down the street, ironically,
Hmm.
and I go there every Sunday and pray with those guys and trying to get more involved with that organization.
You know, it's funny how things are changing because I mean, I've always, at the age of about 16, I took off from church after I had my stabbing and stuff. I was drinking and stuff for almost 25 years, and then 5 years ago, I moved to a small little town south of Calgary, and the first friend I made in town was a Baptist pastor, and me and him
Wow.
became best friends. He he tugged me to go to this church event. It was a Christmas musical just over a year ago, and where I met my now girlfriend of 11 months almost, who's also a woman at church and was also, I won't get into her story, but she had a run in with the Salvation Army that changed her life. So it's kind of crazy. And yesterday I posted a video about my books, and this lady is like, well, once I got past my judgment of your giant cross and those sunglasses on your head, and I'm like, wow, you can judge this all you want, because you know what? I'm not afraid anymore. I used to be so terrified of posting stuff. Or things are starting to change. People aren't giving a shit anymore. You know what I mean? You see
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's right. My walk with God and developing a relationship with Jesus was instrumental in my recovery. I think that it was that understanding of grace, understanding that although life rejects us, that God never does, and it was definitely the power that I needed. I couldn't find any other reason to go on. Right? It was really dark and really desperate. And once I finally came to the understanding that my higher power, it could be the God of my understanding, that I didn't have to accept the God that was driven down my throat by other people or pushed on me by other people, that I could literally understand God the way I wanted to. And um and then just through getting to know the scriptures, like I have a T-shirt that says, all my role models went to prison, and then it names off all the disciples. So there's a lot of power in that when you really come to understand that Jesus didn't come for the rich; he came for the sick, and they were considered criminals in their day. So and then became extremely powerful, well-known people. So yeah, my faith is everything to me, and I carry it with pride and with joy, and openly talk about it when I can. I don't Bible thump, but yeah,
You know what?
bringing Jesus into my life saved me.
A lot of people online and stuff, they post these videos like, I'm gonna lose followers for this. Well, who cares? If you post something
Yeah,
you believe in and people leave or unfollow you, it's like a self-cleaning litter in my books, right?
yeah,
Like, if
exactly.
anyone's gonna
Yeah, and
trash
I
you,
don't, I don't make my videos for likes or
no.
followers. I do it to reach one person. If there's one person out there every day that needs to hear a message, and that message can come from me, then I'm good with it.
You know what, man? I was about 2012. One of your videos really hit me because it's something about checking in on your friends that have a smile. Always check on the people with the biggest smiles. Um,
Yeah,
I used to party and go to a lot of drunk karaoke, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're so crazy! You're funny. Can you do this impersonation?" This, and I was so wasted. That's how I dealt with PTSD. And a friend of mine who's passed away 3 years ago, but she sat me down, this little 4'4" woman with the voice of an angel. She basically took me in the corner of a pub at 1:30 in the morning, and she said, "If you don't smarten the fuck up, you're not gonna see 50."
Yeah.
This is when I
Yeah.
was almost 400 pounds, drinking 6 nights a week. And I was that
Wow.
one person, right? She saw through all my shit. And after I kind of quit drinking, I used to still get drunk on my birthday. That was my thing, one day a year. And then 3 years ago, on my 47th birthday, I'm like, this is it. This is my last time being intoxicated. And that was my last
Yeah.
time being intoxicated. But the thing is, she passed away on my birthday. So
Oh,
it's kind
wow.
of, I just turned 50 in August. It was my third birthday sober. And I'll always have that reminder of her being that one person of all my little friend circle that saw through it. So that's
Yeah.
what your
Somebody
video
that believes
reminded
in you.
me of, right? To check in on the people with the biggest smiles, because they're usually the ones hiding so much shit and put.
Usually, yeah. And they hide, all hides behind that smile. You just never know, right? I've learned never to judge people. Um, it's not my place to judge, and really, really have to look through the eyes of compassion now and try to understand that everybody has a story. Everybody's been through something that's changed them and impacted them. And we don't know what that story is. And not everybody wants to share that stuff. So yeah, I really have to see things through eyes of compassion and try to understand that nobody can surprise me, Dave. There is nothing that I haven't come across or been through that anybody else could. And I don't think that my story's any worse than anybody else's. I think they're all bad stories. They're all different, but we're all the same in some way, right? And so yeah, just trying to understand that everybody has struggles. Everybody's been there, been somewhere, and they might all be different, but they're all hurt them in some way too. That's changed them. So
When I'm scrolling on TikTok, if I see someone that's posted something, hey, you know what, I'm sober a month, or I'm sober a day, or I'm starting tomorrow, I was just try and leave a comment just saying, hey, you know what, I'm proud of you. Because that
yeah,
little
me too.
that little comment coming from a stranger that could keep someone accountable, that could make that person's day, keep them on. But
Yeah.
I want to go back here as well and kind of jumping back. But when you started with the gang stuff, how long did that last, and then what happened after that, as far as like?
Um, well, it went on for years and years actually. Once you get into it, it's really hard to get out of it. Eventually I did. Eventually I managed to find a woman that I loved and I actually had a family. But that it didn't change the addiction. I still had an addiction. I just was got way better at hiding it. It became a different type of addiction because then I became a very high functioning addict. At times, people wouldn't even believe it. Like, no, you don't party. So, but I did, right? It was many hours of driving down dirt roads, hiding, lying, pretending, making up stories of where I was. Um, and it wasn't every day at that point or anything, but it was still there and it was still haunting me. And I came to realize that it was numbing those emotions, those hidden traumas that I hadn't dealt with yet. So, and then that's when I came to realize that triggers aren't the experiences that other people put us through. They aren't being put around situations or around things that we shouldn't be around. They're inside us, and those triggers are things that we haven't dealt with yet. When we deal with those things, all of a sudden the triggers go away, man. And a lot of people don't talk about that stuff. They don't understand it. They haven't researched it enough to really understand it. But like I got 40 years under my belt, man. I've done the research. So yeah, you know, if you're triggered out there and things are bothering you and you're blaming it on the next guy, or this person did this to me, so I used because, well, that's not that person's fault. That's inside you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. You know, I was stabbed by three Somalian guys, okay, in 1994. So whenever, for
Wow.
a lot of years, whenever I'd see anyone that looked like them, if I was on a subway train or walking down the street, I'd cross the road. I'd get off the train because I
Yeah,
literally wanted to take their heads and smash them together. I know they didn't
for
do it, it
sure.
was on the other side of the country, whatever, but in my mind, they were all going to stab me.
Yeah.
And then when my ex-wife was 8 months pregnant, I was moving by myself up and down 4 levels of stairs with boxes. So these three Somalian guys live in the building. They come towards me, and I'm like, I'm ready to go because I think they're gonna jump me. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, brother, do you want some help?" And that was my biggest freaking wake up call. I'll never forget. They called. There was six of them. They called in three of their friends from across the street, and these guys helped me for an hour and a half. We were done,
Wow.
and I just
Cool.
stopped. And that was my big wake up call to go get help because I'm like, you know what? I got to get this out of my head because that was three guys in Ottawa. That's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So again, I wonder sometimes if those aren't God moments.
Yeah,
Those are those moments where he's whispering at you saying, look, man, it's not your job to judge, it's mine,
yeah.
you
But yeah,
know?
that was my biggest wake up call, and it's one of those moments in the whole path that you look back on little things like that.
Yeah.
So when you first said, "Okay, this is it, I'm going to change," what was that first? What was that first week like? How terrifying was that?
Well, it was really terrifying. Obviously, it was coming to the realization that I had to let go of this thing that I thought kept me safe for a really long time. Um, it was the emotional roller coaster, having to feel things that I avoided feeling for a lot of years. And yeah, it was freaky. It was really, really freaky because going into it, I knew that it was going to be an entire transformation, that I was going to have to let go of everything that I used to be and completely reinvent myself and start to become a whole new person, and didn't know who that person was. So yeah, when you get to be my age, I'm same age as you, man. So I'm sitting here thinking, what, like, is it too late? Do I really need to do this? But I did. I needed to do it.
You know what I
And it's
love?
not too late.
It's never too late. And I've had, like, you're my age. I had a guy on here last week who was just in his late 20s, who's so wise in recovery. I had a female, couple of females. I had a Miss America. She was Miss Texas, who got into addiction and almost took her life by running through the middle of a highway. So you
Yeah,
never
see?
know what someone's going through, and it's like you see these posts and these filters, and everyone's smiling. But you know what? Sometimes I'll just message people that are always posting funny shit and just say, "Are you okay? How's it going?"
Yeah.
And then it turns
Well,
crazy.
addiction's not racist.
No,
It doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't announce itself. It sneaks up slowly. I actually just made a video on that, how it snuck into my life, and then it took everything loudly.
did
And
you
and yeah.
ever, with all those dealings and gang stuff, and did you ever get caught? Do you have any run-ins with the law, or
Yeah, I was in and out of jail lots, man. It made life difficult for me now. It was something that I definitely have regrets. But yeah, many times I was yanked in off the street for various things similar to you. I have scars on all my arms from stopping stabbings. I was attacked on many occasions on the street, hustling. Maybe got off a block or two into the wrong neighborhood, or at one point I was lit on fire. I had guys spray me with lighter fluid and then light me on fire, and I had to fight these guys off while burning.
holy shit?
So yeah, I was in and out of jail lots, and then that was a whole different front, right? Then I was tough, man, and I don't say that with pride. I was tough, and so I always seemed to have to prove that, whether I wanted to or not, right? But yeah, I was stabbed 3 times, actually, one in each arm, stopping knives. And then the one guy that did get me came up behind me and got me in the stomach. So, and then the jail was just constant, always in and out of jail, getting caught with dope, getting caught fighting, getting caught collecting, whatever it was, man. So I got a record as long as my arm, and it's not something I'm proud of. It's something I'm trying to work through. But yeah, it's worth the work. It's the work I'm doing now.
What I'd love to do, and I mentioned this to everyone that comes, and once I have 12 recovery guests, I'd like to do almost like a live panel with everyone together, people that have been through shit, like on a Zoom like this, like
Oh,
not
that'd
for
be
a
great.
show, not for
Yeah,
a show, just like a meeting, and
yeah,
kind of not like a meeting, but and if we open it up live, just open up the questions and say, hey, if there's anyone up there going through shit that wants to ask someone that's been through shit without any judgment, here's your chance, and just do like an open question forum with all these guests together. That's my goal.
that's a really cool idea.
And
Yeah,
you know,
I'd love to be a part of something like that.
it wouldn't be like an AA meeting or anything. It'd be to help other people or people that are about to go down that road, or maybe someone
Yeah,
that's stuck in
yeah.
it and can't get out. You know what I mean?
Well, Dave, I want to mention too, and I think it's really important to mention that recovery, our addictions don't just affect us, but they affect everybody around us.
Hmm.
People, people suffer around us. People that love us wish and pray and really, really go down a hard road too. And a panel like that would be an opportunity for that mom to phone in and ask, hey, how did you do it? My son's going through this, or my daughter's going through that, and I don't know what to do. And just to be able to reassure them that really you can't fix them. They've got to
Yeah.
fix themselves, but you can walk through the journey with them because some sort of deep sadness and trauma causes these addictions. The only thing that's going to fix it's love. Hate's not going to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I had a really big realization last Saturday. We were me and my girlfriend and my daughter. We decided to decorate the tree, and then we did this thing called blind karaoke, where you turn back onto a karaoke screen. You got to try and sing the words,
yeah,
and it was just the most hilarious because I had this big thought, like, man, like 10 years ago, this time of night by now, I would have been 9 pitchers of beer in, up on a stage singing karaoke, and I didn't know half the words because I was wasted and I couldn't see the screen because the words are blurry.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I just had that big realization, like, wow, I never want to go back to that. And then
Freedom, right?
I woke up the next day with no hangover, and then we had breakfast together. I'm like, wow, just every now
Yeah,
and then you need that little punch to say, hey, this is.
that's real freedom. It was funny. I had a similar experience where it through the recovery center that I was in, um, they took us on this camp, and it was at a camp that was owned by another faith organization. So there was this big cross on the end of this pier and really nice setting and cool cabins. And it was the first time in my life that I went camping that I didn't think I needed to have a bottle of whiskey, a case of beer, and a bag of dope.
Mm,
And it was an amazing time. Like I was actually able to throw my fishing line out there without getting big tangles in it. And we all sat around the fire and we laughed and we drank pop and we ate good food and we laughed and we laughed. And I actually remember that camping trip, right? And so that was one of those moments for me where I came to realize that I didn't need alcohol and if you do need alcohol and drugs to have a good time, then you have a problem.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. There's a Christian camp actually about an hour away from here. You just reminded me of it. And this place is in between two giant mountains, so there's no reception. You're completely off the grid there. And
Yeah.
we went
Yeah.
to a family camp there a couple of summers ago, and 3 days completely off the grid. And it just gave me a big brainwave about talking to them about maybe doing a recovery weekend where you can bring people out there and just have everyone totally off the grid.
Yeah, it's so powerful of a thing to do, especially in groups of people, because then it opens you up to the conversation, to that conversation that you wouldn't normally have, right? And Yeah, no distractions. The phone's not ringing. You're not
Mhm.
stuck in, that I think that's probably the biggest addiction in the world today. And that's important to mention as well. Everybody likes to likes to assume that addicts are cocaine users or alcoholics or pot smokers or heroin smokers. Everybody has an addiction of some kind, whether they want to admit it or not. You've got women that are addicted to shopping, men that are addicted to shopping. You've got gambling addictions. You've got people that are addicted to sugar. Um, if everybody was to take a minute and really think about it, they're in recovery of their own in some way, shape, or form, and we all have work to do on ourselves. So yeah, I might have used uh, I might have used some pretty hard drugs or done some pretty hard things, but it's important to remember that it made it a little bit easier for me when I came to that realization that even the people that are judging really shouldn't be, because they probably have vices of their own, and they make themselves feel better by picking on the guy that's downing out in the street
Mhm.
again, instead of looking at that person through compassionate eyes, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
My last guest actually just posted a video. He does a video a day for every day of the year. But he said, before you judge an addict, go spend 24 hours without your phone.
Yeah,
Okay?
exactly. I agree with him 100%. I got to meet this man.
Yeah. I'll put him in. He's on TikTok as well. I'll send you his link
Okay.
after.
Yeah, I'd love
He's
to. I'm
also a
gonna.
Dave as well. So
Okay, I'm gonna look it up and start supporting him. I think it's important we all back each other up and empower each other and support each other one way or another. Because if there's somebody I'm not relating to, he might relate to you, and he might relate to the other Dave, and he might relate to the hundreds of other people that are going to get out there and start trying to help each other and empower each other and lift each other up, man.
I love it. Before the week before I started this podcast, I was on with a nurse in Chicago. She has a weekly show she does, and she had seen my story was on like Fox and Yahoo, and she's like, I only get 8 listeners a week. She's like, are you sure you want to come on my little show? And I'm like, listen, I said, if one of those 8 people is me in 2010 on a
Yeah,
balcony downtown Calgary thinking about would anyone give a shit if I leaped off it, it's worth every freaking minute. I don't care if you're 10 views or 10 million. So
exactly.
that's why I love doing
Exactly.
this show. Um, Sometimes I'll look at the numbers and just say, yeah, but it doesn't matter. It really in the end, it's all about impact. And if
Yeah,
I can get
that's right.
everyone together, even like, someone, one of my PTSD guests or a comedian, just like get all these people together, 12 in one little live broadcast. And maybe I'll do one a month with all past guests if they want to do it. And I love it. I got one more question for you, man, and then we'll get
Yeah,
out of here.
sure.
It's just my dumb question, how I end every show. It's kind of my little
Yeah,
thing.
no problem.
But here we go. A 100-meter pigeon carrying contest. How many pigeons could you fit in your arms and still have in your arms when you cross the 100-meter line?
Oh, I don't know. I might be able to start with about 20 or 30, but I don't think any of them would be there when I got to the other end. That's the honest to God truth.
Oh, well, that'll put you about third from the bottom, I think. When I had Leslie Horton on, she has a phobia of pigeons and Canada geese. She wouldn't even touch that question. So, but
Yeah.
you do a lot of writing. If anyone, I'm gonna put all your links in the bottom there. People can go check out your some of those poems. I don't know if they're poems or you want to just call them rants, but they hit me hard and made
Yeah,
me take
they're
a step back.
just writing, man. It just comes from the heart, and it's just something I love to do. I found that I have a real gift, and it was actually one of the guys that I worked through recovery with that worked through my steps with me, and he started listening to some of the answers to some of the questions through the steps, and he said, "Man, you have got to write a book. You have got to find a way." He said, I worked with a guy that was a couple of years ago. So he was like a teacher or an instructor. He said, I worked with a guy a couple of years ago that's the best writer I've ever met in my life. He said, you're way better. Like you got to write and get it out there. So yeah, he encouraged me to do this. And again, taught me that my story is a teacher, that I can help a lot of people with it. So don't be afraid and just go out and do it. So I did it, and I'm still doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
So if you're watching this and you're going through any shit, you feel like you're stuck anywhere, just reach out to someone for help. You,
you bet.
uh,
Anytime, I'm open to anybody.
Everyone, check the link in the description if you're on TikTok. Give Justin a follow. I'll put everything down there, and keep an eye out for my all sorts of recovery panel coming once I hit. It's not going to be hard. I think I've had almost 12 people in recovery now. I had a boxer on, and this guy was about to get a big fight deal, and then he went out and he got wasted and ended up in prison and lost everything. And you never know. People can look like they have their shit together. You never know what someone's going through. So just be kind. If you're thinking about posting something douchey on someone's, just maybe think about it. Say it out loud first before you hit that enter button, because you never know, shit can stick with people, and you know what I mean. It's
Amen. Yes.
just be kind.
Yeah.
Justin, thanks for coming on my show with me. We'll always down for a follow up episode 6 or 7 months later to see how things are going. I just started this last January, so
Yeah, 100%. I'm totally down. I'd like to keep in touch with you for sure, Dave.
yeah, I stay in touch with all my 90% of my guests. To me, it's like a little family, man, and um, I love it. And everyone, go give Justin a follow if you're on TikTok. If not, just keep an eye out here. We might do a YouTube live once I get maybe my daughter to show me how to do that. Everybody have a great day, and like we said, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Thanks.